Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for ICONversations. The ICON program is designed to celebrate our company's top shelf producers. These agents have not only exceeded capping status, but have also reached exceptional milestones, earning them various stock grants and the opportunity to earn back their paid company dollar. From BC, we have Aaron Sang. From Alberta, we have Glenn Heslop. From Michigan, we have Dylan Tanaka. Also from Michigan, Al Abdallah. And our amazing, wonderful, intelligent superstar moderator today from Washington is Donna Roberts. Donna, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Wow, thanks, Brian. Thanks for all your help. I'm excited to be here, really excited. My first time being the moderator here, so forgive me if I stumble a little bit here, but I wanted to make sure that we all took a second here to introduce ourselves maybe and tell a little bit about our business and how long we've been with EXP, and are you an individual agent, a little bit about yourself. So do we want to I'll start with Aaron. Aaron, do you have a second here? Yeah, hi.
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Aaron Sang. I am I've been in the industry for about 12 years now. Before I joined EXP, which was about 2 years ago, I was with Remax and with Sutton Group. Since I've been with EXP, I've made ICON both years. It's been a really good experience, and I guess like what was in the introduction, what's really amazing about it is when you do hit the ICON, it's you get all your fees and stock options back. But what I really like about it the most is really the platform, this type of community where we can share with each other to encourage each other on more than just an office meeting type of basis, where we can dive deep into things that may cater more to you, where the top and the whole company actually want to share their success, what made them successful to you. So that's the one thing I really appreciate about EXP.
Great, thank you. Glenn, do you want to go a second here?
Absolutely. Okay, so I was first licensed in the 1980s, but came back into the industry in 2014. And I always have to look this up. I was with Remax and Royal LePage, but I think it was 2021 that we came over here to EXP, and we came towards something, not away from something. So we weren't unhappy where we were or where I was, but we're just attracted to this culture and have never looked back. We've been after I arrived, I was just on the border of hitting ICON, I think 2 years in a row, and then last year we finally, for the first time, hit ICON. Like 1 year, I was one deal away. I couldn't even make it. So run a small team. We're a family team. I'm kind of locally known as the Harley Riding Realtor. So we're not like suit and tie people. We're pretty casual folks. My daughter is a team agent. She's been with me a year and a half, and it's been really fun coaching her. And I'm just shocked how much education she got from the realtor course and how much she didn't get, what I had to teach her. So I'm just I think it's really difficult for an agent coming in without any mentorship. But part of the family team is our son is an inside sales agent full-time. He works for us from Mexico. And my wife is office admin. And when my daughter has to show property, she's also the director of childcare. So it's quite a small outfit. And when there's another agent, a third agent that we're mentoring right now. And she's just helping her get into the business. So that's us. We're here in Alberta, the spot to be in Canada. And look forward to the rest of the show and learning from all of you. And I don't know, I would take notes in the audience. I took so many notes from the rest of the icons last week. There's just a ton I learned.
I love that. A family affair, but also a few other people. And director of childcare. I'm sure there's a lot of people that need one of those too. All right, so let's go. How about Dylan? How about yourself?
Hey, EXP World, Dylan Tanaka, been in real estate since 2003, started flipping way back then. I am from Metro Detroit, just like Al, and started in the foreclosure, started before the foreclosure days did a lot of investing through those days, got my license in '09, broker a few years later, owned a few of my own brokerages, mostly focused on investing. Then a few years before COVID, I bought my first subdivision to develop. So I developed that way north of Detroit. And kind of during COVID, we were developing that. I moved to EXP during COVID, started liking working with retail buyers and sellers a little bit more than I ever had in my previous 20 years. So I've been with EXP for 5 years. Did not Icon my first year because I knew nothing about it. Icon the next 4 years. And probably the thing I like best about this is, our company is there. It's just a group of givers. People are willing to share. Local people will share with each other, people from across the country. And if you want to figure out how to take your business to the next level, there is someone in this room probably that will help you do that. So I encourage everyone to make sure they take advantage of the community, because it is really a huge group of givers. And like Glenn said, he's been in the business for a long time. I'm sure he can attest to there's a lot, just a different feel here at EXP.
For sure. I can definitely attest to that. I don't think the first year I even realized what Icon was, and I apparently Iconed, but I didn't understand what it was either. So thank you for that. Al, how about yourself? Are you guys, Dylan and Al, are you guys on opposite ends of the states? Are you close by each other? How does that work?
We're probably 30 miles from each other, not too far.
Great.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, Al?
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. I do apologize, guys.
Whoops, we lost him. Sounded like there was some other people in the room. Well, I'll introduce myself. I'm Washington. Oh, there you go. All right. Al's back.
But so this is Al Abdallah, Dearborn, Michigan. Been in the business for almost 30 years. Been with EXP for 7 years, 7-time Icon agent. I've got a team of 3 agents. I've got 2 offices next to each other. My whole downline's right here. Not my whole downline, but my local downline is here in my office. And we close. My team closes well over 200 transactions a year. And I was with Century 21 for 22 years, and moved to EXP 7 years ago. My son is 24 years old. He works with me. He's been with me for about 6 years. And I do a lot of probate. I used to do a lot of expires and for sale by owners. Now I do a ton of probate throughout the state of Michigan and throughout the country. And I also do business across the world in different parts of the country, different parts of the world internationally.
Great. Thank you. I'm having a little bit of hard time hearing you a little bit. It got lighter there when you were finishing up there, but it sounds like you've been in the business for quite a while, so you have a lot of wisdom to share here for sure.
All time. Do I sound better now?
A little bit better, yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm in Washington State here and dual license, so Washington and Oregon as well. I've been an individual agent. I've been a agent, team leader of a large team, and I've had a smaller team, which is what we're doing right now. Previously with a luxury brand, and like a couple other people mentioned, I actually came over in 2020 during COVID, and not looked back since. It's been amazing. So we're running a different kind of model right now with a couple agents, but we're, like I said, we're right here on the border. We're Oregon and Washington. So thank you. So I guess the first question I'd like to ask a couple of you guys here, and we'll go back to Aaron to start, is what are you seeing in your local market right now that other agents across the country should be paying attention to? Aaron?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for it's a good question. I think, it's no rocket science right now where we're at. It's a very, very slow market. For me particularly, I think these are actually some of the best times to be creative, to take a lot of learning because what happens is if you try to learn and try to catch up when the market does pick up, you'll find you won't be able to do that. For me personally, I'm always trying to increase my understanding and increase what the value I can offer to my clients. And it's in these type of slower times where, although, yeah, for some of the newer agents that are here, or those that are not new but are in a struggle right now, it could be hard to be motivated, thinking, oh, you kind of get kind of trapped in the kind of pessimistic nature of our market right now. But you got to understand, we need to find a way to overcome this rather than feeding into the negativity that's there. So, I mean, there's no secret here that the markets is slow for us for sure. But I think for me, what I did, even starting, it was already slow as of 2022. I actually decided to double down on everything, all my marketing efforts. For me, I'm mainly a warm leads type of guy, word of mouth, mainly referrals. And so what I actually did was I started to spend more. I actually ended up spending more in my efforts on my book of business, in my direct circle of influence. I tried to make sure that I pushed past the second degree of separation. I don't know if you guys read the book, The 7 Degrees of Separation. I try to push past the 2 degrees, getting my clients to invite their friends to events that are not even real estate related, just strictly to benefit them, to show them, to give myself a moment in their lives that they want to come to, so they can learn a little bit about me and what I do and what I offer. So that's kind of my little thing that I've been doing right now. Just for a frame of reference, ever since I've come to EXP, the market's been really bad. And that has nothing to do with EXP, but it just so happens to be the case. But just in the last 2 years alone, I think I've done more volume than I've done in the last 10 years. I think we've closed on my side, on market, on registered and unregistered deals over like 200 million already. And so a lot of these deals were done over these type of warm leads and these type of lead generation that's organic. Everyone does things a little differently. Some people will pump up social media. Some people will utilize AI. Some people will use Facebook, but find your niche, find what works well for you, and then when you find something that works for you, I'd say double down on that.
Great, thank you. Glenn, what about yourself? What are you seeing in your market right now, and that maybe some of the other agents in the area or not across the country here should be paying attention to?
Boy, just with these guys in the room, I feel like I'm the minnow in the ocean here. The production some of these others do is amazing. But we are where we are. We've done quite well. Here's what I'm seeing is we're seeing a softening trend. We've been seeing it for about 14, 15 months now in our market. The one thing I always tell people is perspective. If we look at where we were in the last 5 years, we're looking at a really slow market. But if we were to zoom the graph back for 10 years, it's pretty hopping. So I think perspective is important. It can't always be insane like it's been. And for over 2 years now, I've been telling clients and leads, hey, the market's going to soften. It doesn't go up forever. And when it happens, it's going to happen suddenly and nobody's going to see it coming. It's just the way it is, right? It always does. There's always a correction. But there's always somebody moving. And there's always agents like, hey, it's a soft market, but all the rest of these guys are hitting Icon. How is that? Well, because somebody's buying and selling. So I heard a saying years ago, and I've always held on to it. I choose not to participate in your recession. And there's a recession going where there's agents leaving the business and whatnot, but yet these guys are growing their business, and so can you. So we focus on the basics. Doing the right thing by clients, keeping in touch with our previous clients, lead generation, figuring out how to do our lead generation better, faster, cheaper. Just kind of focusing on what is generating. One thing we did notice this year, which is rather interesting, and I don't really have an answer of why, our production is similar to what it was last year. It looks like we may actually bump over what we did last year, but there's a lot more spikes. So last year we had our the normal cyclical, or not the the busier and slower months of the year, our sales were kind of just rising and falling with that trend. And this year, we're just seeing these wild spikes. We'll close like a ton of deals in 1 week, and then we'll be slow for a while, and then a ton of deals again. So I'm not sure what that says, but that's just interesting. It's just a bit wilder ride. But there is always somebody moving, right? So even if the market is slow, and maybe it's not slow where you are, it is slower here. But we're getting a lot of downsizers now. I'm getting a lot of people wanting to sell their multi-level home and buy a single level home or an apartment or a senior's place. So there's always something going on. So just keep your eyes on what is happening and not what is not happening.
Well, you're wise, Glenn, because you've been around, you've seen this business for a while. And I think some of the newer agents really don't get how cyclical this business can be. And you have to just stay with the basics. And congratulations to everyone who, the last 2 years, I mean, if you're sitting here and you're doing halfway well at all, you're ahead of 99% of the people it has been. So congratulations. And that's just kind of, like you said, spikes. I mean, we had more volume last month than in the summertime. It's just bizarre. It's just all of a sudden got busy, and maybe it was the slight interest rate. Dylan, what about yourself? What are you seeing in your market, and what do you think as far as what people should be paying attention to about what's going on?
So Donna, I agree with you and Glenn. I've been around a long, long time. I've seen a ton of different markets, and it's basically a 4-letter word that we're allowed to say on EXP World. It's WORK. You got to work. So, me being from Detroit area, we're blue collar, right? We have to get our hands dirty and go to work every day. It's kind of how this region was built. And I think we talk about this on the stage all the time. Everybody had a cousin or has a cousin who has a real estate license, right? And that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that you have to outshine them. And I think a lot of our friends' cousins are leaving the business. And I don't want to see people leaving the business or them doing poorly. But the reality is, if you don't treat this business like a business versus a hobby, you're going to be in trouble. So I've ICON 4 years. I've recruited about 40 to 50 in my downline. I still got like 22 active here in Metro Detroit. And I'm doing 2 open houses this weekend myself. One's for my listing, one's for another team member's listing, because they're too lazy to do it and they're not ICON. So I'm not saying that open houses are the only answer, but what are you doing right now that's more important, other than listening to ICONs pour into you? But what are you doing right now that's more important than prospecting? If you're not prospecting, you're dead. And that holds true basically in any business. You should be spending 85-90% of your time prospecting, because without leads, you can't do anything in this business. Just like cash, without cash, any cash flow, there's no air. The business dies, and leads bring cash eventually. At its most lowest level, I guess. So for me, I think it has slowed down a little bit. I mean, the numbers don't lie, but is it slowed down compared to 2008 when I saw blood in the streets? Not at all. It's still screaming, like Glenn said, over the last decade. So I think it's all about perspective. And if you want to build a business and be in this business for a long time, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Some of us do it with personality. Some of us do it only with hard work or cold calling. Some of us do it because we were born into it. But whatever your personal gift is, I think you've got to exploit that and use that as much as possible. But you've got to put the time in prospecting, whether that's cold calling, mailing, door knocking, being at events, Facebook. Sometimes it's all of the above. But to me, for everyone listening and watching, if you're not prospecting, you should be doing something else that's super duper important outside of family time.
Amen. Thank you. Work works. And like you said, it doesn't matter what it is how you want to build your business. So whether it's Sphere or you want to do social media, you need to be disciplined in there, putting in the hours and working on your business and talking to people. You can't wait for the phone to ring. Okay, so let's go. Al, what do you think about this whole thing? I'm sure you've got a good perspective.
That's a great question. And I think a lot of realtors and a lot of the people, you guys can hear me fine, right?
Yep, we can hear you. Now we can't. Where'd you go?
All right. I'm going to fix this problem for you. So yeah, I think a lot of the realtors and a lot of the buyers are probably, okay, there we go. You guys can hear me better now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I had to put my headset on because there's just a lot of noise in the background. I do apologize. I think a lot of realtors and buyers today are, like you guys were saying, a lot of what the other agents were saying is absolutely true. But at the end of the day, if you generate, you don't have to tolerate. And if you're in the business and you're just waiting for someone to call you because of social media, because of your friends and family or neighbors, that's not going to happen. To me, I've always been a pounder on the phones where I'm calling expireds and for sale owners and unconditional withdrawals and off-market properties. And my way was like the way I was taught. You get on the phones, you prospect, you hunt, and you look for that business. And if you're in the business and you're not doing, that old school, pounding the phones and hunting for business, the business is not going to be the way you want it. I see the business going in a direction where it's eliminating a lot of the realtors that should not be in the business or don't need to be in the business or don't want to be in the business, and just making it where the hustlers, the grinders, and the finders are the people that are going to survive and last. And I just believe that this business is not for everyone. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I closed well over 200 transactions a year. I was on a team for 22 years doing 500 transactions. As a solo agent, I close 130 deals by myself. Now, I'm not pounding the phones. I'm not hustling and grinding like I used to, because I got a team now last 3 years, and I've got an office and a group that I don't need to do what I used to do for that long, but I'm still here at the office before everyone. I leave after everyone. I'm coordinating everything and not just waiting to see what happens tomorrow, what happens next month. New Year's already started, at the beginning of November, probably October. So for those people that are, saying, well, I'm going to start changing my way of doing business because the market shifted to more inventory and more days on market, to me, I look at it as this is an excellent opportunity right now where you got more negotiating room on transactions. You got homes sitting on the market longer. You got more expireds. You got more opportunities. And the people that make the most money in our industry in the years I've been doing this are the ones that do it when others are not doing it, which is the fall and winter when people go into like kickback, relax, mode. It's the holidays, it's Christmas, it's New Year's, it's Thanksgiving. This is when people have more time, and this is when I find the best clients and the best transactions, the best closings are during these next 3 to 4 months. I don't know if I answered your question right, but that's my opinion.
No, I think that's great. I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's amazing to me how many you did the work and you've dug in. And I remember the same thing as you worked, and whether it was open houses and being the first one in the office and practicing, not just studying, getting ready to get ready, but getting in there and your mindset, like figuring out what the opportunities are there and what you're going to do. Well, so that kind of leads into my next question then. Obviously, there's a discipline or a habit of something that you've had to put in place because you didn't just build your business willy-nilly, I'm guessing. So tell us something that you've put into place that you think has made all the difference, or that you would like to share with people who are trying to build a successful business. Let's go back to Aaron.
Yeah, I think discipline is always beats motivation. Having your, for me, I like to write everything down so it's visual. I have my objectives and goals put in place. For me, I think a really big part of it is also keeping accountable, being accountable to people who you've put in your life to make sure that you're on track. And so for me, as someone who mentors a lot of people, I also make sure I'm also being mentored as well. Because sometimes we are short-sighted. We think that we've met our limit, or we've met our we reached the end of us, only to realize, only for someone to tell you that, wow, like I see this much more in you. I think this is what you need to work on, and this is where you can really grow, or maybe you haven't done this yet. So having other people's opinions in their lives is also really important. And once you hear from them, I think it's extremely important to now be disciplined, to write down the plan and to follow through with the plan, whether you feel like or not. I think honestly with real estate, the beautiful thing is, it's a type of skill set that you can kind of take with any other business you really do. It's just that it's more raw. There's not much framework for you, and you're completely creative with the way you implement it. And coming from a banking background, I was able to kind of move my banking background to kind of adapt it to real estate. But quite frankly, I've seen so many different people in different backgrounds come into real estate and be super successful too. So what that means is your systems matter. What do you do when you get a lead? I liked what I think it was Al just said about constantly, or Dylan, or I'm sure all of you guys do this, is you're constantly prospecting. I think that is so key. It's kind of like what I was alluding to earlier is, you can't be learning when, when you finally got the deal. You need to be prepared. You can't go and compete in a tournament without training. So when you're training, recognize that, hey, I'm training. It's, I'm getting ready for the battlefield, right? Or the tournament. But when you're in the tournament, also realize that it's not over once that tournament's over. Once your deal's done, once you've reached some sort of success, once you've hit some sort of goal, remember that you got to constantly be grooming yourself for that next level. So I think that's kind of the for me, it's always keeping myself. I like to put a visual for myself. I like to say, okay, I've hit 10 deals now, 20 deals now, 40 deals now, 50 deals now. And then at those stages, I know what to do next, right? Okay, make sure I'm prospecting this. Okay, let's double check my social media budget. Okay, do I need to increase my team to specialize in certain things? I think, Glenn, I was there with you last week. I liked what you were doing in terms of reorganizing your business and looking into AI, looking into alternatives. What are some ways you can improve yourself? I think to me, that's vital to anyone in a completely, business for self framework in a business for self environment with no framework. You can do whatever you want. It can either lead to your success or it could actually lead to you being complacent. So yeah, that's kind of I think, yeah, that's what I do.
So, it sounds like you're making sure that you're educating yourself and staying in the game here, making sure you're
Absolutely.
learning as well. Thank you. Glenn, how about you guys? What do you got going on? Is there a specific discipline or habit that you have stuck to, accountability, scheduling? What is it that makes the difference in your success, would you say?
I hope y'all wrote this down when Aaron said discipline beats motivation. I think everybody needs to print that out on a sign and stick it to the wall in front of your desk. Because, we're going down the rabbit hole with AI, as Aaron alluded to. We talked about some of that last week, developing systems, and we're going down this road in a big way. But really, the more basic is just that truth right there is just getting up and going to work and doing it, even if you don't feel like it. That is everything. So I'm going to be a little cheeky. I'm going to give the answer rather than here's the habits that make you successful. I'm going to give you some negative things that will make you fail. Avoidance. So if you're stressed and confused and then spend your time scrolling on social media rather than taking that next step for that client or lead, that will help you fail. Giving into overwhelm. You don't know what to do, so you do nothing. I don't need to know the entire solution. I just need to figure out, okay, I'm looking at a lead. What's the next probable step? And sometimes I don't have no idea. So I just pick up the phone and call them. So working 24/7, you need to take some time for fun and family, or you're going to get burned out and you're going to crash and burn. React and don't think of the future. So if you focus on today and forget about tomorrow, and the always be prospecting thing. I think it was Al that talked about that. It's a classic thing for any of us in this business. As soon as you get a lead pop out, you forget about looking for the next lead and you go serve that lead. And so that's why a lot of people's business is feast and famine. So you need to work in your business serving clients, but you also need to work on your business developing systems and rip off every good idea that you can find. Like from me, from anybody else, that's what we've done. We don't generate a lot of new ideas. We just look around, see who's making it work and why they're making it work and steal their ideas. Here's the next thing that'll help you fail is to concentrate on your problems. You can focus on today's difficulties and then avoid thinking or imagining and even just sitting there dreaming about where you want to be. So, it's not hard to outshine the average agents. I don't know about y'all's market, but here, the average agent in my market, and there's thousands of agents in my market, and like it's a big market. There's the average agent sells 3.87 to 4.37 houses per year. There's weeks we do more than that. So it's really not that hard to rise to the top. The Pareto principle, the 80-10 rule, the 90% or 80-20 rule, and it's often 90-10 or 95-5. In this market of thousands and thousands of agents, you'd be shocked how many times I run into the same agents over and over and over again, right, even the other side of the city. So it's really not hard to rise to the top. Don't take it to heart that or freak out that there's 9,000 agents in your market. You realize that 90% of them are not doing much, and it wouldn't take that much to be in the top 5%.
Thank you. No kidding. I think in our MLS, 75% of the agents did 4 deals or less, and there were almost 50% that did 0 and 1. So you're right. There's plenty of opportunity to get in there, and a lot of people just get frozen about what to do. So thank you. Great stuff. Dylan, how about you?
I was on stage a couple weeks ago and we talked about this. So for me, it all starts in the morning. I've got a 11-year-old daughter and other stepkids and all that crazy stuff, right? So I've been getting up around 5 for probably a decade. And I backed it down to 4:45 or moved it up. I don't know how you figure that out. I'm just a real estate guy. Now I've moved it to 4 a.m. The last month. And today when I left the house at 7, I had almost 3 hours of work in because I had to shower and get dressed and that kind of stuff. But I took care of a bunch of things that were not revenue generating activities so that when I hit the office, I could be on the phone talking to who I need to talk to and putting together things that make money versus being in Sky Slope or I'm pretty connected on social media too, and Glenn brought that up, and Al did also. To me, if you don't use social media as a tool to make money and you're just on there, you're just wasting your time, and that's okay. We're here to talk about business today, not how to spend time with family and holidays and all that stuff. That's more important than anything. But if you don't have any money in your bank account, it makes it a lot more difficult to do those things. So to me, you have to be a human on social media, but you should use it to your advantage for sure. Because there's a million ways to make $1, right? And you've got to try, and do the ones that are best for you. But for me, it all starts in the morning. I haven't gotten up after that time in years and years and years. And if I was to miss my morning, it'll mess everything up. Just because for me, I need to, I need to get those things done. And similar to Glenn, I don't know how long you've been drinking it, Glenn, but I've been drinking bulletproof coffee for probably a decade. So I'm on my second right now. So get up early, drink lots of coffee, and get your dumb work done that doesn't make you any money. That's what I say.
I'm going to have to try that. I've never done the bulletproof coffee. I'm kind of stuck to tea most of the time. Perfect. And I think, I don't know, that expression I've heard, you guys have probably heard, choose your hard. I mean, being broke is hard. Building a successful business can be hard. Being overweight is hard. Being on a diet is, you have to choose your hard and dig in. Al, how about yourself? What's a discipline or habit that you've stuck to that has helped you make the difference in your business?
How you start your day matters. They say who you work with matters, who you surround yourself with matters, how you start your day matters, and how you start your night or end your night matters. So how you end your night matters and how you start your day matters. So for me, I like to sleep with, my brain just shut off and not think about anything the next day or what happened today or nothing. Just when it's time to rest, time to rest. But what I'm thinking about when I do sleep is how am I going to get up and get to the gym on time. I've got a workout partner. And I don't like to, miss that because I'm a big believer of accountability. And when you got accountability, your workout is that much better. So the first thing I'm doing is getting to the gym early in the morning. So my day starts, I'm up at like 5:45, get ready, get dressed, get to the gym. And then I come to work. I have a mentality that I'm broke as a joke. I'm in foreclosure. I don't have a dime in my name. I don't have any real estate investments. I don't have any closings, any transactions. And my mentality is start from zero every day, because I don't need to come to work. I don't need to do what I'm doing. I don't need to hustle and grind. I don't need to have these 2 offices that are like, each office is 1,600 square feet or so. I don't have to have this downline, upline, crazy stuff that we're doing. But I do it because in order to enjoy life, you got to start your day in the right path. And for me, it's the gym. And then from the gym, it's getting ready, getting dressed, coming to the office. I know some people work from home. Some people work from an office. I worked from home for a year and a half for the first time in my career. But I start my day by coming to the office right after the gym and everything else I'm doing. And I'm just, for me to keep I think like Ford, GM, and Chrysler, they have an assembly line. They got employees on the assembly line. And if you got an assembly line and you want that production line to keep being productive, then you got to show up, because when the cat's away, the mice come out to play. And every time I'm not here, I'm out of town, the vibe, the production, the success, and the conversion changes. Sometimes it's just my presence here changes the vibe and the feeling. And I enjoy doing what I'm doing, because sometimes people, I hear them complaining and bitching about our business, but the reality is, just look at what people do in construction, cement, roofers, drywallers, framers, landscapers. Man, like landscapers doing hardscape, man, I tell you, I break my back watching them. And they do all that work to make 2, 3, 4,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. But for me, if I just know what to say and how to say it and when to say, and press a few buttons on a computer and a few buttons on a lockbox, I'll make 2, 3 times as much as somebody breaking their back. And I think we have the easiest job in the world. And sometimes, we feel we're overpaid, for what we really didn't do. Like, we didn't do much and we got paid. You listed a house, you priced it right, and then boom, you get multiple offers and boom, you're closing. I mean, how much work did you put in it? 2 or 3 hours? And you got paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in some cases. Some cases $100,000. Like, sometimes you're making as much as people make on a yearly income. So my mentality is just start at zero, appreciate this business and this opportunity that we have, appreciate the fact that you don't need a college degree to get in, appreciate the fact that it's easy as heck. The business is simple, real estate agent's complicated. That's my answer.
Good stuff. Exactly. I think the opportunity for everybody here is amazing, and start from zero all the time. And I don't want to say it's a scarcity mindset, but exactly, I don't get complacent being in the office every day before everyone else, and you set the tone, and people are going to do less than you're going to do. And I also just try to make sure that there's a healthy, they want to make sure they have more in escrow than I do. And so it ends up becoming this thing where we all work together.
Donna, sorry to interrupt you real quick. Just one more thing I want to add on. Like, you're talking about, we all work together. For me, birds of a feather flock together. My atmosphere in my office, nobody's a solo agent. Everyone is on the same team. Even though it's not my team, we're all on one team. So we share transactions and deals and leads together. So I have a lot of my guys in my office doing things together and splitting commissions together, even whether they're on the team or off the team. And I believe that if you work all together, and whether it be transactions or leads or clients, you can go, fast alone, or you can go far together. And I have that far together mentality, and that's why, like, my office is extremely productive. Is that for that very reason, to a point where one of my agents is a friend of mine's son, and he's been with me, I think, 3 years now. Started brand new. October of this year, we just got the information. He hit #1 in units in the state of Michigan. #1 as a solo agent.
Wow.
In the state of Michigan. So this guy's only, I think, 26, if I'm not wrong. That's impressive. So that's kind of mentality. I like to grow everybody around me more than I like to grow myself. And that's the mentality you got to have.
that collaboration without competition, you know what I mean? We all, like you said, the power of the group is much more intense than an individual person. And you're able to travel and do things and know that in your group, whether they're on your team or individual, that you've got someone that can help you out if you need to go do something. That's great. The next one we have here is talking about, other than Aaron, a lot of you guys have been in the business longer too, is like we all get stuck on certain plateaus in what we're doing, whether it's in our business. And what have you done, or share a moment that you were stuck, burned out, and what did you do to get through that? Aaron, how about you? I mean, maybe it had to do with when you were first starting. I don't know.
No, I mean, honestly, 2022 was really, really bad. I remember all the traditional methods weren't working. Everyone was just filled with fear. I'm in Canada, so our interest rate went up like from 1% up to like 6% overnight, in a span of a few months. And, generally I'm used to my phone ringing all the time. And instead it was just dead. So it was actually really, really bad. And, honestly, when the finances are not good, it starts to affect your family. It starts to affect your marriage. I have 3 young kids as well. I was cranky. It was not good. It was a really bad time of my life. For me, honestly, something greater than real estate has to happen. It has to be more than just money. It has to be more than physical things. For me, like getting back to God, my religion, knowing Jesus was huge for me. It really allowed me to have hope in my life. It allowed me to realize that, hey, it's not just about working hard on this earth, only to know we all face the same fate. There's got to be something greater than that. And for me, at the end of the day, that helped me pick myself up. I was able to meet people in the church who was able to support me. And quite honestly, I think that's exactly what I needed. I've been working really hard my whole life. I start trying to, work my way to what I want, not realizing what are some things that are greater for society, what are some greater things for my community, for the people I love and care for. When you start to have that grounded, your natural motivation becomes more than just about for yourself. It's kind of like when people go to war, like you can't just fight for yourself. You need to fight for something greater than that. Otherwise, you're going to be put in a face of great danger, great risk for what? It has to be for something greater than yourself. Having children, having people you love, all those things help me pull me out of these really challenging times. It made me become more creative, made me become more determined, made me become more resilient, because I wasn't just lulling about how I'm going to fail. It was, I couldn't fail. I had to find a way to get out. And honestly, knowing God, that is huge. I was able to pray. I was able to submit all my cares to him. I was able to understand what the Bible says about giving me faith, giving me hope. All the glory goes to him. Ever since then, I've been hitting crazy production. I think it was just last month. We were number 4 in the whole nation in terms of volume. So, I mean, like, it's a crazy bad time. I'm not saying that, it's a journey for all of us, but faith is huge because faith is something that is greater than any tangible thing we can have. It's better than any money you can have. I trusted God when I was at my lowest. And I can say right now, like, even though we are on top of where we could ever even imagine, we're actually thinking about the next steps, which is like, how can we help? How can we invest into education, into the society? How can we give back to the poor? How can we help the people in prison? Like, we do this stuff. Our team has like ministry groups and all that too. So yeah, I think that to me is key to life, is more than just about your personal circumstances. It has to be greater than that.
Thank you. It sounds like you found your why you're doing this, rather than being for you. You found your why. So I'd love that. How about you, Glenn? What would you say was, if you share a moment when you either felt stuck or burned out, and what did you do to break through?
So glad I had my microphone muted, because when he asked the question, I actually laughed. I'm like, does she want a moment from this week or last week? So because you hit icon doesn't mean the struggles stop. In fact, in some of them they increase. But I would really echo what Aaron said. And I know people are coming from all different perspectives, but personally, my faith in Jesus Christ has been like a real big anchor in my life. And without that eternal perspective and knowing that it's not all about me, I think then we tend to focus on ourselves more. And I think taking your eyes off yourself and realizing that, personally, I serve a God that's greater than me. And then I can also then serve my fellow man. It's a huge deal. And then now I just need to focus on what I have to do. So even when we see like great things happening in, just the last, if you want to talk from this week, we were going down the AI rabbit hole big time. And I had 4 reports come, and each one of them is about 15 pages long from my AI software developer. We're trying to automate the whole business that we're in. And I know I was actually despairing yesterday. It's like, oh man, I got to meet with this guy, and I haven't read all these reports yet. So, but you can focus on that, or you can just find a way to get it done, right? You can look at the vision and say, hey, well, how is it going to be? How many agents are we going to help if we can help people maintain family time but still be productive in real estate? And so if you do that, I think take your eyes off yourself, realize that you're not everything. And I, particularly from a spiritual perspective, and then you can go ahead and say failure is not an option. We're just going to go ahead and do this. Now, on a practical basis, what do I do to start working on that stuff? End up starting. Okay, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stuck, and we just start looking at. I have 2 things we do. Is we use Follow Up Boss, and so I look for every client through Follow Up Boss and say, is there anything that's marked as something I need to do next? So just taking action helps a lot. And then we use SkySlope. I go through every deal in SkySlope. Is there anything that needs to happen on that deal? And then I use an electronic planner similar to a Franklin planner, where there's the ABC 1, 2, 3 system, where we just prioritize. And I'm asked the question: is there any consequence? A major positive or major negative if this thing doesn't happen, and we just prioritize what we do and take a step forward. But I think taking your eyes off yourself, and because we all like to feel sorry for ourselves when things get difficult, and having a perspective of something much greater than yourself is key.
I think one of the first times I heard that I actually got to see Zig Ziglar at an event a long time ago, and I think that was one of the first words of advice that he had given. So I think that's super valuable. Thank you. Dylan, how about yourself?
So for me, I've always had my own office, regardless of who I hung my license with or own my own companies. So for about 1.5 years, I was working from home. I think just out of laziness, because I still had my office, so I didn't go in there. I wasn't in here as much. And then about 2 months ago, I said, you know what? 2026, I want to double my production. How am I going to do that? The market's slow. Everybody's whining. Well, for me, I'm like, I'm going to double it. So I'm not going to double it, having the option to not work 24/7 during working hours. And there's nobody at home to bother me. But for me, it was just getting back to basics and always, again, like working on revenue generating activities and not doing, podcasts and social media, and spending less time for me a little bit on agent attraction and more back into production. So to me, I'm very ADD, so I need to be focused, and being in a professional setting, or at least eliminating as many distractions as possible, I think is super important for all of us as entrepreneurs. Social media never really had me like that, but just having the ability to, make an extra cup of coffee or whatever when you're at home. It's a lot harder to do that when you're locked in your cell, but my cell is where I'm happy. So I work in an office full time, and for me, it's skyrocketed my just daily production of getting things done, like I said, with revenue generating, and not so much content creation or just other parts of the business that I mess around in.
I appreciate that. My husband says that I hum sometimes when I'm just doing these mundane kind of things, but I think that means I just really love my job and love what I'm doing. And like you said, even though you're in your cell, I'm doing what I enjoy doing. And so that's everything. Al, how about yourself? What do you do? when you're stuck, inspired, burned out, what did you do to break through that time when things are slow?
I mean, a great thing to ask me is what I do during the foreclosure market when we were closing deals left and right, and the foreclosure market came around, and then I was my savings account was getting drained, and I went from selling homes 2, 3, 4, 500,000 or $1 million, whatever it was, to houses for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. So you can only imagine my commission checks were, $5, $10, $15, $20,000, whatever it was, or $2,000 to like $500 and $300. I mean, so you just gotta go through this storm mentally and say, okay, what did I do that used to work very well for me? And what did I do when I got out of that mess, and how did it get better? Mentally, this business can mentally drain you, especially when you got, like a house expenses, monthly expenses, office expenses, monthly bills. And for me, it's just like, okay, look, there's a ton of people out there looking to buy or sell. They're not calling me, and they're not gonna call me. But if I call enough people every day, eventually 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 3, and that's just what I did. And that's what I do. I never let anybody or anything or any market dictate what's gonna happen with me. Because there's people buying, there's people dying, there's people selling, there's people yelling, there's people, getting divorced, getting married, there's people downsizing, upsizing. The opportunity is out there. So if things are not working out for me, it's not because of the things, it's because of me. Anything that doesn't work is because I'm not working. So if things are not working for you, it's because you're not working. It's all a mental game, it's all mindset. You become what you think about most of the time, and if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. So for me, it's just get out of your head. I've got all these one-liners. If you're in your head, you're dead, etc., etc. So if you're in a mental funk and things are just not working out for you, then try to find out, or have somebody help you find out why it's not working out for you. And are you really working smart, or are you really working hard? It's just, man, the opportunity is so big in our business, and it's so easy to make money in our business that people don't want to do the work. They don't want to work. They want easy peasy. They want things fed. So I never had a time where, except for the foreclosure market, I can tell you I drained my savings, and I literally had to go to my parents and borrow $3,000, which I've never done in my life. Other than that one time that I took a major beating, that one major beating taught me a huge lesson, and I never want to see that day again in my life.
Al, I took an equity line on my house when that 2008 market hit, and if I knew things were going to be short that month as a single mom, I knew I had an equity line that I could dig into a little bit to help with the difference. And I think, like you said, you have to pivot, and if you're not growing, you're dying. So there's another one-liner. I mean, if you're dying on the vine, and so that has to do with personal growth as well as your business growth. But you have to be, like Glenn's talking about, we're digging deeper into AI. I just got a client last month and already closed them that came from ChatGPT, and so if you're realizing that you have to grow personally, for sure. Well, we're getting close here, so I'm going to skip down to the last question I had here, and then you guys can just pipe in. I think if you could go back to the first year that it says when you hit ICON, but if you go back to where you were in the beginning, I would like to say, what is one thing you would do differently, or a piece of advice that you would give yourself from when you first started to what you know now? And I would just say, who wants to pipe in?
I can pipe in just because I have to hop off. Like I've got a closing I have to hop into, so I do apologize. Say that what? I'm sorry?
Go ahead. So what would be a piece of advice you'd give yourself if you wish you would have known when you first started?
In my case, I was fortunate to have an older brother that was my mentor, coach, and leader. If anybody, one piece of advice I can definitely recommend that worked out very well for me. If you're brand new, get on a very productive, successful team for the first couple of years of your career. Don't try to do things solo the first 2 years. it's very difficult, especially in this day and age, in this market, and technology and algorithms. I don't want to say I wish I did it, because I did do it. But if anybody else is listening to this, hop on a productive, successful team your first couple of years, even though there's splits and whatever it is, because you'll learn faster, you'll make more money, and who you surround yourself with matters. So if you're surrounding yourself with successful, productive realtors on the team, you'll eventually become like them. So that's my opinion. Can I hop off? I do apologize, because I really got to get into a closing.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, Donna. Thank you for everything, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else want to pipe in there a piece of advice? I will personally say the same thing. I mean, I started as a part-time agent, as an individual solo, and I went and I made it, but it would be a lot easier when I look at the people. I have new agents, and they realize that 2 of their deals came from somebody that they knew, and 22 of them came from the team. So yes, the splits are different, but they're learning and growing and able to go off on their own later. I think that's great advice. So Dylan,
I can pipe in, Donna. So for me, I'm from the same area as Al, but a little different. I started as an investor, so I personally had bought hundreds and hundreds of foreclosures instead of just transacting them as an agent. And I looked at us and I said, I don't want to be a real estate agent, because I was only in the business. I was only buying and selling a few years before it crashed. And we're from Detroit. Even though if we don't live in the city, we were super affected. Everybody knows that who's listening. So for me, I think it's having that mindset that you are going to be in this business for a long time. If you're not, that's okay. But I wouldn't advise jumping in if you're not serious about it. And I think when you first start, it's probably wise to go and, I don't think it's a bad thing to join a team or to take on a mentor or something like that. I don't mean a paid mentor like coaching. I'm talking about somebody here in the business who can teach you how to do things, because getting our license teaches us absolutely nothing. We all know that's part of why the real estate business is kind of broken for agents. So I think that part's important. But to me, it would be just being serious about letting everyone know what you're doing. And I still, to this day, since 2003, people look at me and they're like, oh, you're Dylan the house flipper, because they've known me forever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been pushing retail for half a decade now, all over my social, everywhere. It doesn't matter. They still see me that way. So I've been working my connections and previous clients, and everyone to me is SOI, whether they've bought from me or not, who is not a stranger to me. So that's my big campaign, is doing that. And you'll be surprised how many people really don't know what you're doing, or they don't know that you're looking to do more business, because no one's buying and selling this instant, but we all know people who may be. So I think you have to be in that thought process all the time of letting people know what you do. And I don't mean like an Amway salesperson. There's nothing wrong with Amway, but I'm saying I don't want everyone this Thanksgiving to be like, put the vampire cross up against me and go, get out of here, Dylan. He's talking about real estate. But when you come with value and you have wisdom and knowledge that the other people don't have, because what do we talk about at Thanksgiving as an example? Everyone wants to know what their house is worth, what's going on, and you don't dwell on the negative. You always want to dwell on the positive. But when you have specialized information that no one else really has, because we know Zillow is mostly crappy information, and you can show your knowledge, then as you're following up with those people and sending your own aunts and uncles cards and doing weird things that I do, they're like, well, when I need something, I know who I can go to. And sometimes they're not going to use me. They just, maybe it's a FSBO, even from family to family member, and I can send them to my title company, right? So I'm always creating value, because as an agent, if you're not creating value and you only want something, people aren't going to come to you, because they can smell that on your breath. They call it commission breath, right? In 1 second. So to me, I think you have to just prove yourself to be very valuable to everyone all the time, even if it doesn't benefit you today or ever, maybe.
Perfect. Thank you. Aaron, Glenn, do you have anything you want to add on there?
I guess there's two things. I would just go thinking back to when I first came into the business and some of the, I wouldn't have come back in the business here if I wasn't joining a team. So I'll just sort of underline that. But I would go back to the my cheeky moment earlier when I was talking about the negative habits that will help you fail. I don't. Those weren't just theoretical. Those are things that I indulged in. So I think I would really concentrate on avoiding those and creating the positive alternatives for the newer agents getting into business. Well, newer agents, nothing for everybody. So those are really, really important. It's a difficult business because we all eat what we kill and drag home, and so every day is we just need to keep ourselves in the game. Now, I think the specific question was about. When the first year you hit Icon, well, I can tell you that because this is the first year I hit Icon. So if I look back, if I was to zoom back 12 months, think what would I do differently? And it's basically what we're doing now. We're doing a detailed analysis of our lead flow. So we spend a ton of money. About half of my personal business comes from repeats and referrals, but we're growing the business. So doing a detailed analysis of what leads actually close, what month did they come in, what time of day did they come in. Like we're doing a deep dive on that, using AI to do that, trying to figure out our advertise how to effectively spend our advertising cash. I'm not burning out my ISA. I had my ISA. He's motivated. He was doing 12, 14-hour days on the phone, and we're like, this is just not sustainable. So we've got that down in less than half, and we're trying to get it down to about a third again. So we're trying to get him down to about 2 to 3 hours a day on the phone. But he's important for my long-term success in that growth. And so that would be a big deal, is just really trying to help him be more productive with less work. So, and developing follow-up systems. So everything about, like, any business, any successful business. Why is Amazon successful? Because they have systems that other people don't have. Why is McDonald's successful? Same thing. And I think it's the same for us, is we need to develop systems so we can spend more of our time serving clients and less time doing busy work. I saw in some of the research my software developer gave me the other day, the average agent is spending 25 to 30 hours per deal doing administration. That we shouldn't be doing that. We don't make money doing administration. We should be using systems to do that, and spending our time serving clients with our expertise. That's where the money's made. That's where the clients are helped.
Oh, amen. We're actually utilizing a virtual assistant here. Well, with EXP, we have somebody that is our transaction coordinator. She helps put offers. She helps get ready for listing assignments that we're going on appointments. And I want to be doing the money generating activities and not the minutia of this is the signature that got missed on the bottom of a seller disclosure. That's not it. So perfect. How about you, Aaron? Anything else? I think we're getting close to our time, aren't we, guys?
Yeah, make this quick. And Donna, if you can share that transaction corner, my TA just stopped. So looking for one, and I would definitely encourage that. That'd be a huge one for everyone here. For me, I think if I was to go back, looking back at when I first started, like I was saying, I was a banker before this. And honestly, I was really arrogant. I became somebody who thought I knew everything, who thought I was the best, came into the industry thinking I'm going to conquer it, destroy it, and leave with what I wanted. And honestly, it just kind of, it led to emptiness, man. Many times once you achieve that, you realize you have moving goalposts and you want more and you'll never get enough. So I think the first thing for me is humility, just really humbling myself to realize, man, I really don't know that much. I may know a lot and I may bring a lot to the table, but I think being able to be a good listener is a huge thing. Learning from everyone around you really increases your abilities. It sharpens you, sharpens your mind. Have the goal of becoming wise and being a problem solver rather than being one to just acquire a lot of wealth, because wealth will disappear, but your wisdom won't. You'll be able to take that, and like I said, you can transition that into other businesses. If you like. Right now, I'm starting 2 new businesses related to real estate. We're going to development. We have a 200 project thing we're doing, and I'm also building houses as well. that opportunity would have never came unless I was curious and humble to talk to my clients to say, hey, like, I want to learn more about you. I want to understand what you do. Found out that they were like CEOs of stuff. And then at the end of the day, you end up having more business that comes through that as well. So humility is huge. Just realizing, it's not a dog eat dog world. There's a lot of business to be had there. There's a lot of abundance out there. And if the more we are, I think I've heard this a lot amongst all these top producers here, is it's all about your perspective, right? If you see it as a very negative place, a very destructive place, a place where there's not enough, then that's exactly what you'll experience. But if you just take a moment to realize and take a breath, it's a very beautiful place we live in. Beautiful world that we live in, that there's so much wisdom, free wisdom, something like this, where people are willing to just shower on you for free. I like what Dylan said, man, it's not about looking for a paid mentor, man. It's looking for the guys that are actually giving it for free. Those are the ones you want. Those are the ones who are willing to love on you, care on you, because they believe that life is more than just about themselves.